on today, we are reviewing for our test. So you are obviously going to do a video lesson so you can work at your own pace and get the help that you need before your quiz tomorrow. So you should have out a sheet of notebook paper and a pencil. That's all you will need. And we're just going to dive right in and do some problems that we have covered so far this year because your test covers everything that we have learned. So just kind of a throwback question real quick. We're not going to spend too long on this. Talking about opposites. If I asked you, if I said someone made a deposit of $240 and then they made a withdrawal of $240, you should be able to tell me, yes, those are opposites and they're a zero pair because a deposit and a withdrawal of $240 would cancel out to equal $0. So that was just kind of a throwback I wanted to make sure I mentioned today. On the next few problems, you will need to write them out and solve them with me. So starting with the first one, I'm just going to draw a little line. And if you haven't, go ahead and put test number 1 review at the top. Today's date is the 31st. Okay. On today, we're going to start with like fractions. So if I gave you negative 2/5 minus 1/5, go ahead and pause this video, try this problem. Once you have figured it out, go ahead and unpause to check. So you should have done keep, change, change. From there you should have got negative 3/5. On the next one, I'm going to give you a few more. Go ahead and write these down with me. Go ahead and pause this video after you have finished question 2, 3, and 4. You should be able to show me all the work because that's what I'm going to ask you to do on tomorrow's test. So show all your work. When you're ready to check, you can unpause the video. So on number 2, the denominators were the same, so you should go straight across. And then finally, you should have simplified. On this one, I'm dividing by 2 to simplify, so your final answer was 3/4. On number 3, the lowest common denominator is 20. So I'm going to go ahead and change them both to something over 20. From here, I multiply by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. From here, I multiply by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. And then finally, I'm going to rewrite my new problem. So now I actually have 12/20 and 5/20, which equals 17/20. Number 4, you should have found the lowest common denominator to be 24. 6 times 4 is 24, so 1 times 4 is 4. Here we multiply by 3. From 8 to 24, multiply by 3. Negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. So my new problem is 4 over 24. And negative 21 over 24. From there, I'm going to go ahead and bring over my denominator. On the numerators, I have a negative and a positive. Remember, the signs are different. We subtract. So from there, 21 minus 4 is 17. And it should become negative because the 21 was larger and it was negative. On the next problems, we're going to do some mixed number problems. So go ahead and record, or we'll do one together. Go ahead and try this problem. 2 3/4 plus 1/3. So we'll do this one together just for review. On this one, the first step is to find the lowest common denominator, which is 12. So I'm going to go ahead and change them both to something over 12. From here, I'll multiply by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. From here, I multiply by 4. 1 times 4 is 4. So my new fraction is 2 and 9/12. And the reason I have a 2 is because I always have a 2. I don't get rid of that 2. And then plus 4/12. From there, I don't have anything to add with the 2, so I bring it over. 9 plus 4 is 13 over 12. And I shouldn't leave it like this because that is improper. So I know that 12 goes into 13 one time with 1 left over 12. But I still have this 2. I'm going to add the 2 with it. My final answer would be 3 and 1/12. Okay. On the next problems, I want you to copy these down. Same thing, try them, and then you'll unpause to check. So go ahead and write these down with me. We have 3 and 5/9 minus 2 and 1/2. Number 7, we'll have 2 and 1/8 plus 1 and 1/12. Sorry. And let's do one more. Here we'll have negative 1 and 1/2 plus negative 2 and 3/4. Okay, so go ahead and once you have these copied down, pause the video, try them first so you can make your mistakes if you're going to make them, and then unpause to check. So on number 6, you should have first changed the denominators. So the lowest common denominator between 9 and 2 is going to be 18. Over here I multiplied by 2, so this is 10. And from here I multiplied by 9, so this is 9. So my new fraction is 3 and 10/18 minus 2 and 9/18. Subtract the whole numbers. 3 minus 2 is 1. Subtract the numerators. 10 minus 9 is 1. Keep the denominator. So you should have got 1 and 1/18. Next one, the lowest common denominator was 24. So I'm changing them both to something over 24. Here I multiply by 3, so 1 times 3 is 3. Here I multiply by 2, so 1 times 2 is 2. So my new problem is 2 and 3/24 plus 1 and 2/24. Add the whole numbers. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. Keep the denominator. And the next one, the last one for mixed numbers. The lowest common denominator was 4, so I only had to change the first fraction, and that changed to 2/4. So my new problem is negative 1 and 2/4 plus negative 2 and 3/4. From there, the signs are the same, which tells me to add. So 1 plus 2 is 3, and I'm going to make it negative since they were already negative. 2 plus 3 is 5. Keep the denominator. From there, this is improper. So 4 goes into 5 one time with 1 left over. Keep the denominator. And I haven't done anything with this 3 yet, so now I have to add 3, negative 3, with this negative 1 and 1/4. And the reason I'm calling it negative is because this whole fraction was negative. So that's going to make negative 4 and 1/4. Okay. On the next section, last section, we are going to do some combination problems. So this is number 9. We're going to do negative 4 and 57/100 minus negative 2 and 3/10. Number 10, we're going to do negative 782 thousandths plus 3/10. And number 11, we're going to do 2/5 plus negative 456 thousandths. So go ahead and pause this video. Make sure that you have the problems written down. Try to then make your mistakes now instead of on tomorrow's test. Unpause to see how you did. So on this problem, it should be keep, change, change since it's subtraction. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as my first step. Keep, change, change. From there, that's telling me that I'm going to actually subtract these numbers because the signs are different. So I'm going to line up the decimals. I'm adding a 0 just so I have a number here. And I'm subtracting. Bring down the negative sign. Since the 4 is larger, I know that it's going to be negative. 7 minus 0 is 7. 5 minus 3 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2, so your final answer should have been negative 2, and 27 hundredths. On the next one, I want to change them both to the same form. So I can write this as a decimal, or I can write this as a fraction. Remember, decimals are easier. So hopefully you know that 3/10 is the same thing as this 3/10. But if you didn't, you could have divided. So I'm actually going to come up here real quick to show you. The 3 would go on the inside because it's the numerator. 10 on the outside. You'd have to add a decimal and a 0. 10 goes into 30 3 times, and because of the decimal, it's now 3/10. From there, writing my problem all as decimals. The signs are different, which tells me again to subtract. Filling in the blanks with zeros, lining up my decimals. Bring down my negative sign and also bring down my decimal. 2 minus 0 is 2, 8 minus 0 is 8, 7 minus 3 is 4. So we should get negative 482 thousandths. And then the last problem, again, change them both to decimals. There's a couple different ways that you could do this. I could do 2/5 is the same thing as something over 10 because I want my 10th spot. That would be 4/10, which gives me 0.4. Or I could have changed this fraction to decimals by doing long division with the 2 on the inside, 5 on the outside. 5 goes into 24 times. So either way, you should get 0.4. So now I'm going to take that 0.4 and rewrite the problem all as decimals. From there, it tells me to subtract because my numbers, I have a positive and a negative, which is subtraction. This is my longer or largest number, so it's going to go first. Write my subtraction, line up my decimal, fill it in with zeros. As with all the other problems that we've done, I want to go ahead and bring down my my negative because it's the larger number. Bring down my decimal. 6 minus 0 is 6, 5 minus 0 is 5, 4 minus 4 is 0. This 0 is important. Don't skip it because if you had this would not be correct. Okay, that is incorrect. So your correct answer should be negative 56 thousandths. Okay? After you finish this problem, I want you to go ahead and stick those in your notes. And then lastly, you're going to read the board for further directions.